Hello Josh, I'm Jordan and I'm going to be your physical therapist today. So we're just going to do a couple of tests and assessments of your neck and your jaw to see if any of the issues there might be leading to your problems.
Okay.
So first I'm just going to do a postural assessment, so if you just look forward for me, and I'm going to look at you from the front, and then from the side. And your ear is a little bit forward, so you have a little bit of forward head right there. And I'm going to look from the back, see if the ears are level. And that looks good. And then I'm going to look to the other side. All right, good. So now we're going to do a couple of range of motion tests to see if everything's working right at the neck. So first we're going to test your OA range of motion. So we're going to look at flexion and extension. So if you could just bring your chin down a little bit, like you're going to double chin. All right, good. And then look back up. All right, do that again for me. And look up. And we're looking for about 15 degrees of range of motion there. So now we're going to look at AA rotation. So if you could for me just bring your right ear to your shoulder and then rotate your head up just a little bit. All right, very good. And if you could do the same thing for the other side. All right, very good, and relax. All right, now we're going to do a few range of motion tests for your jaw. So if first I could just have you open up your mouth. All right, and then close. All right, open again. And close. Good. So now we're going to test to see if you have normal level of depression. So if you could open your mouth and try to fit as many fingers as you can inside. All right, that's 4 fingers, so that's normal range of motion. So now if we could test lateral deviation, so I'm going to have you bring your lower jaw to the side. All right, and then to the other side. And that's normal, good. And now if you could bring your lower jaw forward as far as you can. Good, and then bring it back. Good, and relax. All right, so normal range of motion there as well. All right, so now I'm going to palpate the TMJ, and I'm going to have you open up again. All right, good, and close. Again, and close. And one more time. All right, so we're testing for range of motion. We're testing to make sure that you have symmetrical movement and to make sure that there's no crackling or crepitus or anything in that movement. So now we're going to start testing for the integrity of your ligaments. So first we're going to do a sharp Purser test for the transverse ligament. So what I'm going to do is stand at your side. I'm going to palpate for the spinous process of C2, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a pinch grip. All right, and I'm going to have you flex, bring your chin down again like we did before. All right, very good. And do you have any symptoms with that? Any dizziness, lightheadedness, anything like that?
No, I'm good.
All right, so if you had symptoms like that, I would try to apply a little bit of pressure posteriorly on his forehead. And if that relieves his symptoms, then that would be a positive test. Okay, good. All right, now I'm going to test for the integrity of his tectorial ligament. So I'm going to stand behind, put some stabilize at his shoulders, have you nod forward a little bit, and then I'm going to bring you up. And do you have any symptoms there?
No.
Okay, good. Is that one more time? Forward. Still no symptoms?
Nope, we're good.
All right, good. All right, Josh, we're going to continue with an assessment of the integrity of the ligaments. So now that we're in supine, we're going to test for the alar ligament. So what I'm going to do is palpate for that spinous process, spinous process of C2. All right, now that I have that, I'm going to side bend you, and I feel the spinous process popping into my left thumb. Do the same thing in rotation. Again, I feel that in my left thumb. You can test for the opposite side. All laterally flex you to the left. And again, I feel that in my left or my right thumb this time. I'm going to rotate you to the side. And same thing, I feel that in my right thumb. So that seems good. So now we're going to test for the transverse cruciate ligament. So I'm going to flex you up a little bit. With my index fingers, I'm going to palpate for the transverse processes of C1. Now that I'm there, I'm just going to lift you up a little bit. And you let me know if you have any sort of symptoms, any sort of dizziness or nausea or anything like that. I'm going to hold it for about 15 seconds. Go ahead and relax. Good. All right, still no symptoms?
Yeah, something good.
All right, good. All right, now we're going to test for some passive range of motion. So we're going to start with some OA flexion and extension. So I'm going to flex you just a little bit forward. Good. Now I'm going to apply some bias to either side. So start with the right. All right, keep relaxing. Good. Now to the left. All right, good. Now I'll move you into some extension. And same thing, I'm going to bias the right and the left. All right, good. Now we're going to test for some AA rotation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to side bend you, bring that right ear to that shoulder like we did before. I'm going to block the cervical spine with my right hand, and then I'm going to rotate you a little bit. Shouldn't have a huge range of motion on this. All right, good. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. Let's go to the right. Good. And I'm going to rotate you just a little bit. And that looks good. All right, so now we're going to do combined flexion with lateral flexion, and we're going to do this to test the posterior glide of the condyles. So I'm going to flex you forward a little bit, and I'm going to laterally flex you to the left just slightly. All right, and now I'm looking for the posterior glide of the right condyle when I move them to the left. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing, side flexion, and then lateral flexion to the right. Now, same thing, except now I'm testing for the posterior glide of the left condyle. All right, now we're going to combine extension and lateral flexion. So now we're going to test for the anterior glide of the same side. So some slight extension, and then laterally flex it to the left. Now I feel the anterior glide of the left condyle. And do the same thing, extension, and then laterally flex to the right. And now I feel the anterior glide of the right condyle. All right, and everything seems good. Sweet.